knew that I was that motherfucker, and I was that dude that would go that extra mile. And that's what, so touching on what you was talking about earlier, when the difference between backyards and independent backyards, we got more heart, man. Because we're having
That's
fun
what
with
I see. I just see that spirit of creativity where, I've been doing this 5.5 years, and I got my start covering the British independence, really. And, I love what a lot of those guys have done. The talent is certainly phenomenal, but a lot of guys would come on here and it's like, there's like no, I hate to say it, it's almost like sex without love. There's just nothing there. It's just, yeah, they're
it.
here, they're wrestlers, but there's just nothing. To me, there's no. I mean, there's been exceptions. We work with one company, Colory Championship, or I call them Colory Community Wrestling. They've been great. A few wrestlers here and there, but I just look at it, and again, the independent guys that have been on my platform over the years, I would say like 70% of them have come on here, and there's like no emotional investment in them. They're just here. It's almost like it's a job. It's like they're not believable. Whereas by and large, a lot of backyard guys that come on here, they're believable. I'm like, I want to talk more with them. I want to go watch them. I want to go see their product. I want to be invested in it. And that's what I see.
Let me warn any yarders that's watching this is looking to go to the next level. Let me warn you, and I'm gonna explain why that happens. Okay, here's the reason why this business will joy. This business will suck as a succubus sometimes. It will take this pure life and joy out of you and make you just want to throw your fucking hands down and hang the boots up and just say, fuck it, I don't want to do it no. It's a cutthroat business. It really is. And you have to watch who you trust. You have to watch who the ones that call you brother. You have to watch a lot of things.
You know what? We even see, I got to be honest with you, as we're here with the Deathmatch Juggalo Brian White. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally with Low Wrestling Matters. I even see it here in the backyard. There's certain companies, certain promoters. We had a situation Wednesday with a show, and there were wrestlers that were in the chat. They work, I don't want to go rehash and go down memory lane, but, you see it in the backyard. You're starting to see it here. And, and it's really a shame because I tend to think as wrestlers and wrestling companies, we should all stick together. We should all collaborate. But, there's certainly a large segment of people that they don't want that. They want to just do their own thing and kill everybody. You're going to try to figuratively, literally kill yourself, but that's a different killing. But, my point.
They can't separate business and personal. That's why. It's just a
Yes,
business.
I agree with you, and I agree with you on that. I know there's a lot of people that want to say, "Oh, I'm going to get to comments," but as I see it here, there are people that have not. How can I say it? Differentiated what maybe somebody does as a wrestler versus their personal life, and I think that's an unfortunate thing.
Well, Brian White and Brian Cummings are two different people, two completely different people. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's some similarities, of course. You always want to bring some of your personal into your gimmick, but
that's how the wrestler becomes most emotionally invested to the individual watching. Yeah. For sure, absolutely.
And the reason I've stuck with my gimmick is because I've always been the underdog. As you see here, I'm the smallest man in this match. I've always been the underdog. I've been like a bump dummy, pretty much. I've gotten my ass handed to me by some big guys over the years, but as time went on, I earned the respect, and I started picking up wins. I mean, I didn't win a lot of matches starting out. Now, luckily, my first independent match, I actually won against Mike Jones. So I was blessed.
I know Mike Jones.
Yeah, so I was blessed on that. That was my first match ever, and I won that. But I had to take a lot of ass whoopings, and it didn't.
You were lucky though. Your first match as a pro, and you win. And a lot of guys don't win the first match. They don't win until the first. I had one guy on about 2 years ago that lost his first 57 match. No joke. He literally, I won't even mention the guy's name now because he said a few things, which I don't like. But he, I think, wrestled his first 57 matches or something like that in the UK and lost all of them. So, you can run the gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, and what I'm saying, people just just be careful. Like I say, guys, enjoy your time in the yard. But when you come up this business, it's either you're all in or you're all out. One or the other. You can't.
Well, I've interviewed some guys. I gotta say, this is we're watching the match start to unfold. There's obviously a guy in the backyard that a lot of people, myself included, really, really love and are devoted to. Is a guy Jack Delta, and he talked about that. He tried through the training process. He did about 6 months training, and he felt that he was going in the direction of being an independent wrestler. He's very good friends with the guy James Fury, who's a very, very well-established independent wrestler, and he's done a lot of things across the country. Makes a living as an independent pro wrestler, and he felt from his experiences that he went back to the yard. And I've had experiences on this platform with guys telling me that they were in the indies and they go back to the yard.
I just seen that right there where he punched me and he pissed me off so bad. Did that?
How about that drop kick there you just gave?
That was weak as hell. But I had steel toe boots on this match, and
well, you know what? You did a better drop kick than I did. And as we're watching the match, let me get this. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry. Here comes this frog splash, which was where I just started doing it. I actually started right here where it just really took off, and I use that in my moveset every time now. But this is probably one of the prettiest ones I ever did. Actually, I don't think
that's
I can ever do it
a pretty good one. I got to admit, that's pretty good in form.
Thank you. But
I try.
But
let me get to let me say hello to some people out there. First, I want to say hello to my friend Angela out there in Brooklyn, who said she's watching the show. How you doing, Angela? Nice to see you. Hope you're keeping cool out there in Brooklyn, New York. And Deathmatch Avengers, how you doing there? Can't wait. And also hello to Zilla. Zilla is saying hello, and want to say hello to one of my guys also in CCW, who's their World Underground Champion, Mr. Jam Dog himself, also another veteran, respected hardcore wrestler. Want to say hello to another great person from the South. He is our only general manager in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He is Mr. Hillbilly Tilly, who always says it best. True wrestlers do it for the love of this sport and put their blood, sweat, and tears in it. How you doing, Hillbilly Tilly? He is getting ready for the Alliance Wrestling League's next show coming up next Saturday. And it's a free show, and it's called Endgame. So you can go to the Alliance Wrestling League for more details. They just hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations, boys. And Deathmatch Avengers is happy we're live. Joseph Tibbs is in the house. I'll come back to him for sure. There's Mackie Boy. I think you're going to see Mac in a little while for sure. You'll definitely see him, I have no doubt. Also, this might be somebody very special and important to you, as we're about to see some more light tube action. And how you doing, Mrs. C? Mrs. C, how are you? I think that's your most important fan. You better make sure that fan's the most happiest one out there. Mr. Tibbs is here. Want to say hello to one of my favorite owners out there in the entire wrestling circuit from Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, Mr. Joshua Allen, who says evening to both of us. TBW is getting ready now for their next episode, 164, Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm looking forward to that. And we see some light tubes, and certainly it's not Power Rangers, and you're about to go and go swinging. That hurt.
Yeah,
that really hurt.
It's going to get interesting. I really surprised myself in this one. I'd been known for taking beatings and taking pretty good wallopings, but this one I was really nervous about because the first there was a Light Bulb Massacre 1. This is Light Bulb Massacre 2, by the way, because the previous year myself and Malice were in it, and we were using the U-shaped tubes, and we had a few big ones, but we were mostly using the U-shaped ones, and we were nervous as crap about it because it was just a different experience. But this
How
one
do you
we
just
had
get used to pain like that? The physical force, the trauma that your body takes. I mean, how do you just get used to that?
In my opinion, you've already survived the worst day of your life, and people don't realize that. They don't take the time to realize. You've already survived the worst day of your life and the worst pain you've ever had. And you try to block that out because when them fans get behind you, dude, it's uncanny. The feeling is incredible.
So it's an adrenaline rush, right?
It really is. And I tell people when the blood comes down and it hits your lips and you taste that, I don't know, your primal instincts kick in, and you're fighting like the last monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going camp. You know what I mean? You're going crazy. It brings something out of you that you just never have expected to come out of you, I guess you could say.
Oh, that's a good point. I got a good question from Zilla, and I'm going to let Zilla actually ask this one. So, how long have you been wrestling, and what was your favorite wrestling match in your entire career?
I've been wrestling now 14 years. My favorite match
in your career, yep.
Ooh.
She said 3, but she had 2, but that's okay.
I'm honest God, my favorite match ever was against John Rare and the Ring of Fire death match at Violent Shit Cup.
Oh, I'm gonna play that in a little while. You just wait. You just wait. So
Yeah,
that
that was
one is.
my favorite because number one, John was a reason that I got to really loving Southern Deathmatch Wrestling, and he took a chance on me and brought me into Deep South and gave me so much advice and so much wisdom, personally and professionally. Um, love him to death, like love him like a father. That match was just special because I proved to him that I belonged. You know, like I deserved that chance to tell that story with him, and that I deserved to share that ring with him. You know, and I earned his respect finally, and I that's all I wanted was to earn his respect. We had a match previous to that, and it was a little street fight in a hot ass National Guard armory.
Yeah, I think I did see that match actually. I watched it a couple of days ago. I think it's the indoor match in the indoor venue,
Right.
correct? Yeah, I saw
That
it.
was that was my first Deep South match. But we had this hunger for more. We was like, no, you know, we can't just let it end like that. We gotta bring the angel of death out, and we gotta show the real. You know what I'm saying, we have to show the real side of us that we know we can bring that shock and awe factor that's gonna grab your attention and grab your fans' attention and grab the world's attention. Um, and we did that. We did do just that. But I'm that's my favorite match in my entire career, and I'll take that over winning any title. No disrespect to any title I did win in my career, but I take that over any of them.
Well, you are also a second annual Spider Boudreaux Memorial Deathmatch Gauntlet winner, which is also a very important accomplishment. That one I would certainly say is important still. And let me get to some more comments here. First of all, let me get to Angela on Twitter. She's or X now as they call it. She says that she likes the match. Yeah, a lot of people are going to remember this match in backyard history. Certainly, again, the old days of the Global Backyard Wrestling Network. I'm going to come back to that for sure. Larry's roasting. It's bloody art. Yes, exactly. I think Deathmatch agrees with some of the things I said. Mackie Boy says, get him off. He can't breathe. I think he's talking about the whole thing with you getting handcuffed by Jimmy. Never thought about that. Want to say hello to one of my boys from the Promo Wrestling Federation, which I know we're going to eventually be starting up in about a couple of weeks or so. The Wicked One, Judas. Whoop, whoop. Want to say hello to Mr. Cato. And you got any Cato news insights for me on Cato? Because Cato was here a couple of weeks ago. Anything you want to say about Cato, the controversial one?
I certainly do. I do want to say this. That is one of the most genuine, most humblest, most craziest men I've ever met. When I met him for the first time at Southern Outlaws, and his professionalism is through the roof.
Yeah,
His
what a great
attitude,
guy. I got to be honest, and I'm not just saying it because he's in the chat. Just a great guy. Just really
yeah,
on and off the air. True, like you said, very genuine.
yeah. His attitude for the business and is amazing.
And
His
another
willing,
backyard guy too. Started out in the yard in Wisconsin. Another guy that certainly appreciates, and he came up a tough guy, a tough veteran. No joke.
his wisdom, his not wisdom, excuse me, his willingness to try to do anything to make wrestling good, and that's where me and him get along good, because I want to do anything I can to get you talking about wrestling, whether it be something stupid, over the edge, or whatever. As long as I got you talking about it, I got you talking about it. You know what I
But
mean?
that's how it should be, and I think that's a theme with a lot of you guys, whether it's Mackie Boy, whether it's yourself, whether it's Cato, whether it's controversy, whether it's Obey, whether it's hardcore. A lot of you guys who've been up, in the game for a while, I think that it's a similar theme. It's people you want to be around, people that you definitely want to, kind of just
Well,
spend
and
time with, and I think that's important.
Cato is one of them. He is one of them that I would proudly surround myself around in any locker room. And he went out there and with all due respect, Cato, when I say this, I hadn't seen many of his matches before this. But when I seen his match against Tommy Trainwreck, they told an amazing story. The match would I'd give it 10 out of 10 in my
But
opinion.
that's what I
Uh,
say about hardcore wrestling to me, is that you are telling the story. That's why to me it's just as important as any other form of wrestling, because I do think in hardcore deathmatch wrestling you kind of see a character come back and forth and deal with all these obstacles, all these pitfalls. I mean, literally in matches, pitfalls like nobody else has to deal with. That's why I think what you guys do, it's an art. It's really, to me, a science. I just think people should certainly not gloss it over and say, oh, well, it's this, or that. But actually, no, there's a deeper meaning, I think, in hardcore and deathmatch wrestling. And I didn't get down. I think he's talking about something we talked about a little while ago because I'm a little behind in the comments. Pulling some, yeah, he refers to Jimmy Controversy handcuffing you was similar to the 1999 Royal Rumble. That's a good catch there. It's a good catch. Most
See, we got
forget
him
the
talking.
upbringing. And I agree with Mr. Allen. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, do forget where they come from. And I think
You're
that's
rude.
why, to me, go ahead.
No, I'm saying they forget their roots.
Yeah.
I mean, I never forgot where I came from. This is what you're watching right there on that screen. That's where I came from. I came from that backyard, and I made some of the best memories of my life in the
Well, and I
backyard. They
appreciate,
kept,
I appreciate you because you actually were like, no, let's talk about the backyard. Some guys I have on who are independent are like, no, no, no. I don't know if don't mention it. It's almost like a dirty word, but I appreciate you. And I think that's why there's some more comments. I want to say hello to one of my buddies tomorrow who's going to be wrestling over in beautiful Palo, Iowa, in the Palo Community Center for the IMF's latest show, Summer Heat. Obviously, IMF are very good friends with Resurrection Wrestling. They work really hand in hand with Summer Bash upcoming. And I want to wish Il Drago a lot of luck and a lot of support in his match tomorrow. Really looking forward to the 6-man tag there. And he'll be wrestling with Blonde Don and Freddie Daniels, the RCW champion. Very excited to see that match. And it looks like we see some form of Uranagi there, and the match continues to unfold. And
yeah, I'm being the only one that was brave enough to take my shirt off in the match. No one else was.
well, maybe that's why you're still here, and that's why you're doing what you're doing. Let me ask you though. Let me ask you a different question as we're watching the match, and I will bring on Mac in a little while, but I want to present to you something after the match, which I actually created for you, and I hope you'll appreciate it. But what did the Global Backyard Wrestling Network mean to you?
If I'm going to be honest, okay.
Well, please be honest. Please be honest.
Yeah, I didn't even know who the hell Rad Hazard was. I didn't know nothing about that. I was just wrestling because I wanted to wrestle and have fun, because wrestling was something I've always been passionate about. That's the only reason I was doing it. And then when I found out that this was an actual, title match, I mean, for something like that, and I started watching Rad's videos, and I realized he's got a following. He has a strong following, and people are going to see me. I'm going to get that exposure, and who knows what could happen from that, I didn't know much about him, but to me now, I think him and the Global Backyard Wrestling, because I wouldn't be where I am today. Nobody would have known a damn thing about me if he hadn't sanctioned this match to happen. Nobody would have known who I was, I don't think. And that would have been fine with me, but this really put me on the map.
And all these years later, I mean, he's become pretty successful in his own right over in GTS, with everything he's done there. And here you are, being a part of Carnage Cup last year, this year, and just having a lot of success. And it's also, speaking of the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, there's a guy, Copper Dragon, who's obviously become almost the Dave Meltzer of backyard wrestling. He was also very integral to that. And we're actually having a guy come on Sunday night named Mr. Hardcore at 6 o'clock Eastern time, who was a part of the Global Backyard Wrestling Network in Georgia, GWC. And he's going to talk about some of those memories. And the ironic kind of part of all this is Rad Dad, all these years later, is very successful. There was another guy, a part of the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, that's always on this platform, Sean Jovi. And he's trying to recreate the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, some would say. I'll leave those details to Mr. Jovi. And you're here and having a whole bunch of success. And I think it just shows that, what backyard wrestling really can mean. It is a springboard for so many people. And I hope that people would take notice in that.
Yeah, and if you're a backyard and you think, I'll never make it to where he's at, that's his story. Don't give up. You never give up on your dreams. I didn't give up on this dream. I never, ever gave up on being a wrestler. I wanted that, and I wanted it so bad. And people would always tell me, "You too scrawny," or "You can't do this, you can't do that," and that just put fuel on the fire to want it more. And when I got here, yeah, it's a hard road. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not. It is the hardest road you're going to take. But at the end of it, when you get to the top of that mountain and see the view, man, what a fucking view it is. It's
well, you know what? You obviously kept going. You didn't give up, and that's why you started to taste the fruits of your labor. And unfortunately, you're not tasting any fruits of the labor right now at the moment. But
That's he did that too. I'm still on the other side getting some water because I absolutely lost a lot of blood. I don't remember anything that happened after the match was over. Like I cut a promo after the match, and I don't even remember cutting the fucking promo at all. I don't remember it. So
So
but
let
yeah,
me ask you, as this match is all unfolding, you're going through all this punishment. When the match eventually ends, were you like, I can't do this anymore? What was your feeling after this match kind of ended and such?
let's do it again.
Ah,
Let's do it again. And I know that sounds twisted and sadistic, man. There's no better feeling knowing that you just went through hell and walked through that motherfucker like you owned it, and left a crowd of people that never knew anything about you in a state of awe, just a shock and awe, and the respect of people walking up to you and people messaging me on MySpace at the time, by the way.
that's going way back. Yeah, that's going way
Yeah,
back.
that's on MySpace just telling me, "Hey man, I seen you," and I don't know these people from Adam's House Cat saying, "Man, you put on a great match. I feel like you should have won that. You know, you got some. You're sick mf'er, so forth." But like that's it's gratifying. It really is. It really solidifies your hard work. Um, but I wanted to go another round. I wanted that
Wow.
belt. I wanted that belt because Rad put some prestige behind that thing, and it really meant a lot to me to be known as one of the most craziest hardcore wrestlers in the country. You know what I'm saying? That would have been awesome. Um, and it was a hard fought battle, but like I say, man, yeah, I was actually trying to get a hold of Rad and say, hey, sanction another match somewhere, wherever. I don't care.
Well, I'm sure Rad could actually hear this now because I've interviewed him already, and he kind of knows what we're trying to create here on Sportswire. This kind of all wrestling matters where we've had this event which is called Summer Bash, which is actually probably not too far from where you live in Bremen, Ohio. It's from July 5th to July 7th, and a lot of people in the backyard, some in the underground, some even in the independents, are going to wrestle on this show. It's for 3 nights, and in a way, it's kind of trying to recreate the Global Backyard Wrestling Network. It's bringing companies together, and there's like a dozen companies, from all over the country, really, from the Northeast, the Midwest to the South, and they're here, and they want to go out together and have a good time. Yep.
Let me give advice to these backyard guys here. If you
Go
see
for it.
that, I got a gimmick right there. My
That's the cheese
trademark.
grater.
I
Yep.
had a cheese grater. The sad part is I only got to use it on one person in my whole time. It always got used on me. But separate yourself from others, and that was what separated me from everybody else in the backyard. I was willing to do that, and you'll see this is all shoot. It's all real. He legit cheese grades my head. I mean, it was just something that happened actually previous to this when we were wrestling in between the pine trees. Me and Sean Van did it in a match. And he did it to me, and it didn't hurt. It feels like a bad sunburn, but this one he went pretty deep with him, as you'll see in a minute. Like you could see chunks of my
Were you
skin in the
concerned that
daggone.
he did it that harsh? Then were you concerned at all in this match that how harsh he was
No,
going on?
I told everybody in the match, don't hold back.
Mm.
Do not hold back. At that time, now that I've gotten older and I've learned, I get pissed off pretty easily. But back then, I tell them, be snug, hit me, make me. I want if I don't.
Well,
If you
I
don't
would
hit
think
me, I ain't gonna.
I would certainly think now you're more or less going to pace yourself better because you're young years ago, but you're unfortunately everybody gets older by the day, and you want to obviously keep wrestling for as long as possible. And you're now a part of some really big things, Carnage Cup, IWA, and you want to be able to prolong whatever you have left in your career.
You get a set of bump card. You get a bump card with a number on it, and your numbers will wear it up. This is the end of the match, right? This is where I lost. I lost. I didn't even. I don't remember him pinning me. None of that. As you can see, I'm lifeless right there. That was the end of it. Like I couldn't take no more. Like my body gave out on me, and I thanked him for it when I finally came to. But like I say, I don't remember anything at that point when he put me into that wall. So and he was really scared at that moment. He thought he done killed me, and he was slapping my face and talking to me, and I came to, and then I slip out, and I walked to the ring to get checked out by the nurse there, and I don't even remember walking to the ring. I don't remember the promo I cut after it. I do
Yeah, I gotta be
remember.
honest. I'm watching this match and I don't know what to say. I'm almost like, I don't know. I would certainly advise people probably not to do the same things you're doing here. I mean,
No,
you know,
no, not please. Please, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna backyard or anything, like do it responsibly. Know what you're doing. Protect your dance partner and yourselves.
I
Um,
appreciate you said that because we've had some issues with wrestlers and I don't know what'll come of it, but I appreciate the fact that, you did at least say that, especially now that you've gone pro and you've obviously had success and,
that's why
we
such a black eye, because there's so many guys that's doing shit like what I just did right there. Okay. I didn't have a clue what the fuck I was doing. I really didn't. I was just winging it. But that's why backyard wrestling, I feel like, has a black eye in the professional scene and all that, because most time it is a bunch of guys that don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just throwing each other around, and it's an embarrassment to watch. It really is. But then you got feds like we were. I mean, we were at least trying to do something with it, make it look, give it some
Yeah,
legitimate.
I really think as we're here at the Deathmatch Juggalo Brian White, of course, the second annual Sergeant Boudreaux Gauntlet Memorial Deathmatch winner. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, all wrestling matters. And if you're on Sportswire Radio, we are now also joined in progress on the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page and the Pride Wrestling Federation YouTube page. I say hello to you and thank you so much for tuning in. Also, if you haven't yet, please hit that sub button for us. We're on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579 as we are here with the second annual Spider Boudreaux Memorial Deathmatch Gauntlet winner, the Deathmatch Juggalo Brian White. But yeah, I mean, I think that there are some feds that at least we've had on this platform in current day that, really do put on a good product. And I think guys do it very responsibly. There are others that, it is what it is, but there's definitely some companies. ROEW to me comes to mind, TBW. Resurrection, I don't really consider backyard. They're kind of in the super underground, semi-pro. I mean, but we're talking about pure backyard companies. I think TBW, I think obviously ROEW, those are companies that come to mind. Underground's, certainly different. Resurrection, NEW, IMF, those are different discussions.
UWF,
Yep.
they
Oh,
are
but
they are
UWF to me is the same thing as underground. It's underground. I don't consider
yeah,
it backyard.
prime example. If you do backyard right, you can get noticeability and respect at the same time.
Right. Yeah. And I think that that's a company that certainly a different dynamic. And, obviously we see the match and it's unfolded. But I actually, in the interest of time, I want to present to you something because I really want to talk about the Ring of Fire. I want to bring Mac on and I want to talk about July 27th. But before I do that, I'm going to take this off the screen if you don't mind, because I kind of got the point here of all this. And obviously, I'm
Yeah,
glad you're okay. I'm glad you're alive. I do want to obviously tell people don't exactly do what Brian White and the rest of the guys did. It worked for them, but it may not work for everybody
it was
else.
a
Please.
time. It was a
It
different
worked for
time.
them. It wouldn't work for me. Although some people might want to see me go through some of that because of some of the things I say on Sports by Radio. But you're a really special guy, and I did something to kind of honor you tonight. If you'd be so kind to allow me to put something on the screen, which I hope you would take as a sign of appreciation, you might want to say.
Go for it, man.
Well, on this day here on all Sportswire radio platforms on June 21st, I'd like to officially acknowledge it as Brian White Day. So whether you're here on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579, Twitch at Sportswire Radio, X at Thomas Bryce 2017, we're live on LinkedIn right now. We're also out there on Facebook at Tom Bryce, Facebook at Sportswire Radio, sportswireradio.org, our internet radio station. We're also now part of the Promo Wrestling Federation is in the Sportswire Radio family. Also the Pride Wrestling Federation, all of the great platforms. We have Instagram at the Sports Report 2021. I officially want to declare this Brian White Day for all the things you've done in this sport, all the things you've done for us, all the things you've done for the community. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all that you've done. And I wanted to recognize you. Obviously, I'll give you the print copy when we're off the air, but I wanted you to have this as just a sign of appreciation and just to say thank you because every day what we do try to do on this platform, which most will probably forget, is that we do try to honor guys like you who go out there every single day and put your bodies on the line to go and give us what we want to see. And that's why guys like you are the true wrestlers who do it for the love of this sport, who figuratively and literally put their blood, sweat, and tears out there. So I just wanted to obviously say thank you for all you've done. And I wanted to let you have that.
Thank you. I'm so honored, and that's incredible. That's wow. That's cool. That's
Well,
something. definitely going to be both. I'll brag a little bit about that one. So
Oh, good. I'm glad that you would, because I did tell you off the air that this would be a different experience than some of the other ones. In fact, I listened to one, I just couldn't even hear the audio on. It was like weird. It was like, what am I listening to? Am I listening to like somebody's like seventh grade, junior high school, like radio experience, like trying to put radio? I remember as a kid, I did a project. I think when Radio Shack was such a thing, and I remember, I think it was my mother bought me like one of these like little mini radio sets, and we couldn't put the thing together, and I was like, that's what I'm listening to. But we're in like 2023 and 2024. But you have this up here, and I'm going to bring Mac on in a few minutes. But before I do that, I do want to obviously get to something that's very important. And if I don't do it, I would be really disappointed if I didn't get a chance to mention. You have a very important show coming up on July 27th. I'm actually going to put the poster up here shortly and talk to the audience on why this is important and why people should kind of go out and try to support this event as I get ready to put it back on the screen.
All right. Well, thank you. Uh, July 27th is going to be in Gastonia, North Carolina at the VFW. It's going to be AWS SCW presents A Night for Dora, which is my mother, Dora Lee Stevens. This week, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and she retired and on a fixed income, and she really is having a hard time trying to get the bills and everything together. So I reached out on Facebook, and it's taking a toll on me emotionally and mentally, but I'm trying to keep it together, and I'm doing pretty well with that for the most part. I have a great support system. The fans, my brothers in wrestling, my wife, most importantly, her. But this night, we want to do for her because she's never seen me wrestle. She's never, ever got to see me wrestle. Well, I thought, what better way to do it than to do a benefit to help her? Well, I got lucky. Eric Riker, another worker in the business, reached out to me and he said, "Hey, man, you can do the show the 27th." And I was like, "All right, well, let's get down to the gritty of it." I said, "How much is it going to cost me?" He says, "Absolutely nothing." And I said, "What?" He says, "Absolutely nothing." I said, "Well, I got it. What about the talent and all that?" He's like, "I've already got the talent." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." And we're setting the card right now as we speak. It's going to be action packed. I can confirm that, but I will not confirm yet.
You don't, if you can't say, because I know you put on Facebook already, matches to be announced. So I will obviously let you come on before July 27th, and we'll obviously talk about that beforehand. But what I do want to say, if you don't mind, and before I bring Mac on, I'm going to bring Mac on here in a few minutes, but I want to spend a couple of minutes on this. And the reason I want to spend a couple of minutes on this is actually that since this show is so important, and it's so important to cancer, and, cancer is such a terrible thing. And, cancer is obviously impacting almost everybody around the world, all of our families. And I know how difficult it is right now for you and your family. What I do want to announce is I would like to obviously buy one ticket to this show. So if there's whatever the tickets will cost coming up on July 27th, I would like to personally support that. What I always do here on this platform is a wrestling show that comes up. We always try to support, whether it's the TF crew, which obviously Obey and Rad Dad, what a small world we're a part of. Last week they're in beautiful Connecticut, and obviously this coming Saturday is the IMF Summer Heat Show, and I've obviously donated a ticket to that. So what I'd like to do here for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio and supporters of yours is, when obviously this all gets together on July 27th, I will, make it whatever the ticket is, $10, whatever it is. I will certainly buy one ticket so somebody can go out there and watch you wrestle. And obviously it'll be in front of your mom, but most importantly, to support you on this, very important endeavor. And we certainly are praying for you and your family. And I know how difficult it is. I saw some of your posts on Facebook this week, and, I can't imagine the pain that you're going through. And I can only, there's nothing I can say to make it feel better, but the only thing I can say is that you have earned my support, and I will certainly, donate a ticket. And I hope that would at least go in a small way of showing my support. And I hope that others would join me in supporting you on this cause. And they can actually get involved in a couple of different ways, which is very simple. If you want to get in touch with the Deathmatch Juggalo, these are his links. So if you want to message him directly on YouTube or Facebook, those are the ways you can get in touch and support this man. Because again, cancer is really impacts everybody. It's just really, it's terrible that in 2024, with all the science, all the money that we have in the world, that we're not able to eradicate cancer. And, if you don't mind me saying this, so much money was spent on during COVID to obviously develop COVID vaccines. And, we did as best we could to, whatever side of the coin people fell when it came to COVID, there was so much money spent on COVID, and they were able to at least come up with things to help people deal with COVID-19. But cancer, to me, it's astonishing to me that in 2024 that, we're still dealing with cancer and just, crushing and crippling people's families. So I would hope at the very least, though, that you could join me in supporting this man and his family. And these are some links. I'll put up your social media shortly in a second as well. And, I just want to say that my thoughts and prayers, and you have my support.
Well, thank you. And if I could say this, man, folks, if you have your parents, you're blessed to have them. And myself and Joseph know how it feels to lose parents. I lost my father to cancer. I lost my grandmother to cancer. And this one right here is even harder because, it's your mom. You only get one mom.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. Unfortunately, 2014, my father passed away from cancer. So I understand, it's not easy to go through. Sure.
Nasty word. I hate cancer. It sucks. But my mom is a tough old bird, and she's going to fight with all she's got. She made me as tough as I am. And yeah,
I'd be more tougher than you. And I just seen you go through a lot. With all due respect there, Mr. White.
She's the reason I'm as tough as I am. And if you're watching this, Mom, I love you. We're gonna get this. We're gonna beat it. I promise you, we're gonna beat this.
I think so too, because what you've gone through in the ring, you've literally been blown up and walked right afterwards. So I would certainly say that you're going to definitely help your mom beat it. And that's the poster. And like I said, we'll definitely have more information. I'd be more than happy to have you on before the July 27th show when the card is announced and all those different things. And, again, I hope that you'll be able to take a small solace in my support. But, obviously, I know that you have some, I don't know if you want to call them fans. I don't know if you'd want to call them friends. I don't know what you'd want to call them. But I have, I guess, a couple of, maybe I'll say it in easier terms, compadres of yours that obviously want to get in the conversation. They want to talk to you. They've obviously shared a locker room with you. And after all, one of the guys, you might want to call him the landlord of this platform. And he was kind of missed yesterday, but he's here now, and he definitely wants to talk.
What's up, Brian?
And if I don't let him on, because he's been really actually telling me what the rent is due, I need to come. Actually, no, I don't pay the rent. Anthony does. But the point is, he wants to be here, and obviously, I have to say, it's good to see you, Mac. Long time no speak. And what's on your mind? Because I think we're going to be joined by someone else very shortly.
We better not be. It better not be.
It's not Anthony Steele. It's not Anthony Steele.
Okay,
it's
good.
It's not Xavier Thorne, by the way. Now Xavier Thorne's going. Speaking of Yarders, going into death matches, but I won't touch you on that.
Man, Tom, you'll just let anybody on here, won't you?
Oh, now we talking crap, Brian. You're gonna get it come Carnage Cup, brother.
Well, I guess you are. You opened yourself up to Pandora's box because there's now someone else here. Do I know you?
Oh, who did you guys win?
This is worse than Steel.
Did you guys really think I was gonna come on here? All my love and appreciation for Brian, brother. I love you, brother. Thank you for keeping up good work.
I actually owe him an appearance because a couple of days ago he actually commented on one of my videos and said, "When can I come back on?" So actually, ta-da! How you guys feeling tonight? You okay, Brian? You might be more worried now than some of the footage I showed just before.
No, the only thing I'm worried about is what's going to come out of the daggone Mac's mouth. As far as
Mac's here every other day, though. I deal with that on a regular basis. I'm not worried about that.
Hey, Mac. Are you mad? Are you mad?
You got lucky. You got the glass in my eyeball. You got lucky.
Now, Kato, I could bring up the footage from Saturday Night Riot, but maybe I won't do that because Mac is still the landlord. But I do see that there, and that's some.
Yep, Tom, go ahead. Bring it up.
You sure? Because I don't have to.
Bring it up.
It's Brian's show. It's Brian's show. I can't do that to Brian. Brian's here. I mean, will you guys be seeing each other in the Carnage Cup this year? How about let's go with that first? Do you think we will be seeing each other?
You want to jump ahead, Mac? Go ahead.
But don't tell me if you're not supposed to tell me. But just, do you think we'll see each other? Do you think for you three gentlemen? Do you
I'm
think
fairly confident. One of
I-
us three meet each other. One of us three are.
Well, at least I'm sure all three of you could agree on the fact that if you see Jimmy Controversy, you'll easily beat him, right? Because everybody beats him these days. At least that's an easy softball one, right?
That's how I feel
All
about
right.
Jimmy.
Does anybody want
So-
to roast Obey for his birthday?
Love you, love you.
No, I'm just gonna say him. I'm actually gonna just say happy birthday. I hope you have a great day, and don't come after me like last appearance. Of course. Came with a
I
gun.
was
He literally came with a
yeah.
gun. So what would you like to say to Mr. White, for you gentlemen? You obviously lovely, fine gentlemen. What would you like to say to Mr. White before I bring up some more?
Go
for you?
ahead, Kato, since you came in last.
Hey, work wisely.
Hey, I still came in there, didn't I?
True. Can't argue with that.
Brian, honestly, brother, when you started messaging me and talking to me, dude, I knew there was something special in the works. And you opened the box, bro. Mac and Joey, RPW, you guys opened up the box for me to get to Brian. So, hey, I greatly appreciate what you've been doing. And I can't believe that me and you are actually brothers, man. We're family.
That's right.
I mean, on that note of calling everybody's brothers, Ryan, we both had a similar intake in IWA, and if it wasn't for John, neither of us would have done it.
Right. Right.
But what does John Rare mean to all you guys then? I mean, that's an easy one I could bring up. It's an easy one. What do you all mean? What did you all mean to you?
Mac was the man of PR when he established himself, and he stayed with him the whole time. And brother, without for him, to me, John Rare is mentor. He's an idol. He's a hardcore icon to me. And
He's a Carnage Cup winner. Of course, he's an icon. He's a Carnage Cup winner. I mean, no question about that. I mean, that's pretty easy, right?
First battles with some of the biggest and hardest. I have a similar path with him because we've survived some of the biggest beatings from some of the biggest guys and names in the business. He survived Spider Boudreaux. If you survived Spider, you did pretty damn good, if you ask me. But to me, he is Mr. IWA. I hope he enjoys his retirement. Though. I mean, enjoy his journey for.
For me,
Brian,
John.
Brian, hold on, Brian. You might want to watch saying that because you might get woods on you.
Oh,
Brian,
To me,
problem, buddy.
Max, shut up. To me, John was somebody who I watched in depth, and having him evaluate me and what I do and bring to the table, it was an honor, and I'm glad that guy is still here, and proud to say that he's part of my life and family as well.
it just shows that what somebody can do to help, anybody that wants it. And he's a guy that's a legend, and he took you guys in, and we see, I mean, where all you guys now are going to be and where you will be and such.
Well, let me say this about that. When it comes to Cato and Matt, them, they earn blood. They earn their spot. They earn their keep. And take that from these men. But they went above and beyond. And what the heck they the bloodiest I've ever got any. Cato, don't say or anything like that. They want to wrestle, but they found a family with us because they stand by, they support us, and that's the big thing. If you're not support your locker room, get the fuck out, go on, move on, kick rocks and move on down the road. But if you want to be a part of the family, and I mean, it loves one another, care for one another, brotherhood, bring your ass, take each other out. We are.
I do want to mention something real quick. You know,
You can mention anything you want, Cato.
I got sick after that Alabama show, and I came down with a fever, and I spent my time in the hospital when I was gonna be doing vacation shit with my family, and IWA Southern Outlaws came through and helped me out. You know, take care of a little bit of business, financial situation, and I dedicate my wrestling to you guys, man. It's a good feeling to have friendship and brotherhood in the locker room when back in the day I grew up and everybody's for themselves, dude. Nobody wants to show accomplishments and their appreciation to people for busting their ass in the ring like we do. And I found a brotherhood in these guys, and for that I'm forever ever grateful.
Well, don't forget family too.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I have to ask you one question, though, Mr. White. I mean, I haven't asked it yet. So what's it like being blown up with like fireworks and firecrackers? I mean, I have to ask, I remember as a kid, shooting fireworks, and then they kind of banned fireworks. And, but I've never been blown up. And you were actually basically had that happen to you and walked in and got up right after the match and such. And so what was that like? I mean, I know Mac and Cato, I mean, they're certainly hardcore experts, but I don't know if I've seen them take firecrackers yet. Maybe I should certainly come back and revisit that. But what was that like? I have to ask, Mr. White.
Well, everybody has a gimmick they don't want to, like. When we were,
I'm having a little bit of hard time hearing you right now.
Can you hear me now?
A little better. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, me and John are in the ring of fire at Violent Shit Cup. And I'm already nervous about the fire, like I say, as it is. Fire is so unpredictable. You don't know what can happen with it. Well, at the end of the match, he says, "I'm gonna blow you up," and I said, "What?" He says, "Do you trust me?" No, that's exactly what he said. And he said, "Do you trust me?" And he looked me in my eye. He said, "Do you trust me?" And I told him, "I do." I said, "I trust you with my life." And we got in there and we did our thing. And at the end, fireworks suck. They freaking suck, man. That's what I can say. Cause it's just little bitty pops, pop, 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 pop. It looks like little water spots, sunburn spots on your back when it's over. It sucks.
Back Ted, will you attempt to blow up Xavier Thorne when you have this death match with him, or nah?
I mean, it is close to the 4th of July, so I might be able to get a hold of some.
There actually are some people out here in the backyard, the underground wrestling circuit, that would probably be very happy if you did that to Xavier Thorne, the psychopath. I'm going to certainly say I would prefer you not to do that, but after hearing what Mr. Juggalo has said, maybe you would want to do it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe you never know, right?
Just like Brian said, fire is unpredictable.
Yeah. Do you think, Cato, you'll be attempting some firework use in upcoming matches, or you don't know yet?
Well, I did a bar sign on a steel chair, a flaming chair by all means. So I don't know about maybe fireworks. I would have to test a little bit out just to see, but probably because I'm just an all-in guy.
Well,
There's a certain amount of things I won't touch, like razor blades that are sticking about a foot out of the weapon. Nah, no razor blade.
That's a little scary for me. I would have to admit that. I mean,
I got stabbed by Pondo with his knife, so I'm okay with just getting cut. But a lot of razor blades, I would have to really, really be 100%.
Now, Brian, I'm sorry to bring this up, brother, but how'd the hot sauce feel?
Hey, what he's talking about there, okay, in the second round of Corners Cup 13, it's me and Chewy Martinez. Chewy and I get out there, and you can tell before the match even starts that I'm nervous because it's Chewy. It's he's one of the biggest names, another big names I've worked. And I never worked him before. I've just seen his work, and and I was nervous as shit, dude. Like, I mean, I was partaking as much as I could to get my nerves settled, whatever. I even pro and listened to them for a little bit and drank a PBR with them and went away for a few minutes to take care of something. And it was about time for our match. And when the match starts, like, Chewy's feeling good. Let's just say that he's feeling really, really good at that point. And we get in there and he's feeding me, but I'm not eating. You know what I'm saying? I'm not eating. So he has to take over. Well, he whoops my ass. Well, after I've already been in round one where I've cut up from glass and it started reopening from bumping on the mat in the ring at the time. This is a fans bring the weapons match in round two. There's this cauldron looking thing. I think it holds plants or whatever. I don't know. It's been like ones you see in your mom's house or something or whatever. But inside of it was lemon juice, rubbing alcohol, salt, and ghost pepper hot sauce.
Oh my goodness.
Well. Oh, and on top of that, Chewy blew a snot rocket in it too.
Now I can see why you're a deathmatch juggalo. You're a deathmatch werewolf. You're a deathmatch juggalo. And Kato, you're the controversial one, but you don't seem like the controversial one compared to these two. I mean, you seem almost like the normal one.
I guess you can say ever since I got clean from drugs, I kind of tamed it down, but the reason that made me controversial and why I still stuck to the
family-friendly one now. Maybe you're gonna just do family-friendly wrestling these days compared to these two guys.
Hell no. I mean, the reason why I became the controversial monarchy was because I would go to some of the promoters and just bash their best friend that's wrestling. And be like, dude, you really guys want that guy to wrestle on your show?
We've been doing on Sportswire in the last week, and Max Tennant is certainly known for that, and I joined in as well, among a few others. So we've been doing that regularly on Sportswire.
But with age, there comes more growing up as an adult. So I was smart and wise. Now I wrestle and have a great time. Hang on, hey y'all, Miss Naomi Nightmare.
Oh.
Naomi.
It's good to see that you got over the handcuffing and all that punishment Matt gave you at Saturday Night Ride. You feeling better? Much better now, hopefully?
Well, mentally or physically? Because those could be two very different answers.
I'll say physically.
Physically, I'm a pretty tough cookie, so it takes a lot to break me. But mentally, I don't just let anyone handcuff me and just get away with it. Just remember that.
I'm not going to put the footage up there, but Mac is certainly like that. He got the last laugh, but we know who won the match.
For now, maybe. For now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to come back and get you. Don't think I forget.
All right, we're going to say our goodbye.
I might have something for her. If she's really into it, I might have something for her.
Oh, really? Mr. White is back with us, the beauty of technology. You okay, Mr. White? Did somebody try to hijack your technology there? Everything okay? You feeling good?
I'm feeling great.
Hey, that's
I think,
well, let me get to
Southern alien, bro.
For you, Mac 10, Joshua Allen wants to say Thorne didn't believe in Joe Hendry, and now he's going to believe in some death matches. I want to say hello to my buddy.
Oh, yeah, Brian. Hold on. Brian, you remember when I bet Joe at Carnage Cup that I could get into Carnage Cup, right?
Yeah.
And bet against me. So, one of our guys that's been with our show decided he wanted to bet me a death match that Joe Hendry wouldn't show up on WWE Network.
All right, we're gonna say bye, Brian. Enjoy this rest of this talk show. I love you.
Thank you for having me on as well, even if it was just short. And always a pleasure to be on the show with you.
And Mac, I'm gonna kick your ass later.
I'm coming too.
And enjoy your weekend, guys. Thank you as always for all you do, and we'll see you soon. And We'll put this back up on the screen, and there you go. We'll take this up because you look. Mac likes this screen better. But let me get to some comments here. I want to say hello to my buddy all the way from Australia, Mr. Ace Reed of the Wired Up podcast. And how you doing, Ace? Hope you're doing well. Speaking of training, Ace is getting his training to be a professional wrestler, so he's making the transition to the yard to the pros. Want to say hello to Mr. Tibbs. I can, with a shadow of a doubt, praise Brian and what he's done for Resi and Mac 10. Cannot thank Kevin enough. IWA has been like a family, and I consider everyone on the roster my brothers. I think that's couldn't have been more better said than what Mr. Tibbs had to say there on that. I'll come back to that. But I want to say hello to, speaking of hardcore and deathmatch, I want to say hello to our very good friends over there in the great state of Massachusetts, NEW Underground Wrestling. They're having, I think, another thing, kind of like the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, which is, I think, for hardcore and almost all wrestlers, one of the premier spectacles out there going on, the Riot in the Ring. It's taking place all throughout the month of June. We're supporting it here on Sportswire Radio, and a credit to the likes of Jake Matthews and Justin Abelson. And of course, Mac 10, our Resurrection Wrestling Internet Champion, D'Angelo LaFlame, is a part of it. He advanced in the Riot in the Ring. He's wrestling next Friday there against D Savage. He's probably going to be here for it later in the week on D Savage's spot on Wednesday. So we want to say hello to our very good friends at NEW, almost very similar to our friends in Resurrection. And also, apparently for you, Mr. Tibbs, I don't know if this is exactly the individual. I think it might be, but according to this, it says Mac 10 Steele here, just wondering, how does it feel to sit next to the dude who whooped your ass and took the title you so desperately don't deserve? If this is Anthony Steele,
it is, because he's over there with Joey right now. It is Steele.
So he obviously wanted to remind you about how that all went down. But the good news is for you, Cato left, and we've got an old friend in Mr. Brian White, who's obviously the deathmatch juggalo, and he's here. And I got to ask you, Mr. White, I always ask wrestlers this question, but what is your goals for 2024? Do you have goals for the rest of the year? What are some of the things you'd like to accomplish? I'm having a hard time hearing you there. I don't know if you have something in the background, but you need to speak up. Go ahead.
Okay. Hear me now?
Better.
Okay. So I just really want to just have fun and give back to the business and give back to the next generation, because my time is winding down. I'm 39, 40, and my body's hurting over like it used to. So I want to give back as much as I can before my time is done.
Well, I hope that it maybe allows you to appreciate this ride, because you're on a great journey right now. Obviously, Carnage Cup, IWA Deep South. So you're having the run where you want to be. Reminds me almost of Hardcore. Hardcore is another guy, veteran wrestler like yourself, kind of having this second stage of his career, and he's got a lot of momentum. And before I bring on another guest, I do want to get to a comment for you, especially Mac 10. And this individual, I believe, is none other than maybe Xavier Thorne, the psychopath. Everybody's mentioning Xavier Thorne on Instagram. I'm trying to keep up. I heard Aaron Blaze mention him. Shane Davidson mention him. I'm not quite sure why and when and what's going on, but I do want to say hello to Xavier Thorne regardless, because I do consider him a friend. I don't know enough about all these things. He does say, hey, Mac 10, this match between us, let's do it. Talk to the suits and management, and let's make it happen. And just remember, it's business, not personal. Is this personal or business? Or is it both?
It's both.
Boy, that's a line. But Mr. Deathmatch Juggalo, there is somebody that wants to come on. It's kind of also his show. And I guess you might want to say he's a tenant of Mac 10's or a roommate of Mac 10's. And
don't let him on.
Oh, I'm going to let him on because why not? It's Friday night. We're in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, and we're all Wrestling Matters on Sportswire Radio. The most controversial figure in backyard underground wrestling, Anthony Steele. Everybody was waiting for you yesterday. Omen and Soldier were like, where's Anthony Steele? I mean, people were wondering, like, where were you last night? But,
I've been busy, man.
Were you taking a victory lap after what you said to Mr. Judgment? Was that what it was? You were taking a victory lap yesterday?
Look, promoting, getting shit ready.
So what brings you here, though, to the Deathmatch Juggalo, Brian White and Mac 10? What brings you here?
Just to remind Mac 10 that he doesn't have a championship that he so desperately doesn't deserve. I still think it's funny. You you hyped yourself up so good. You said that you're going to whip Kato's ass. You're going to take the Resurrection Hardcore Championship home, and you failed. Not only did you fail at taking the Resurrection Hardcore title home, you failed to take Kato's baby home. And I'm not talking about Naomi. I'm talking about that Hardcore Championship he holds.
The BMF Championship.
See, Mac 10, we understand you're in Carnage Cup. Congratulations.
It's a big deal, Anthony. That's
I
a
don't
very
see
big
you
deal.
making it far. I really don't.
Why would you say that for?
Because if it happens like Kato just did at Saturday Night Riot, you're going to be out. I give it 5-10 minutes, if that. And then you can be rushed to the hospital, and then you can spend another 3 hours there, and then
Will
you
you
can
be
find
at least
out.
visit? Will you visit back in the hospital, Anthony, or no?
Hell no.
Why not?
Because Mac 10's a bitch, and he gets what he deserves.
That's not nice. He's the landlord of Sportswire Radio. He's here with his brother, the deathmatch juggalo Brian White, and I would think we would respect our guest here. Don't we respect our guest and Brian White? He's a guest, a very well respected guest.
Hey, look, I respect him. Hashtag whoop whoop whoop. I gotta pay my respects to him, but paying respects to Mac 10, Mac 10 hasn't earned my respect.
Why not? Why not?
Like I said, Mac 10 is the biggest bitch of Resurrection.
So are you rooting for Xavier Thorne in this death match against?
I'm actually rooting for a no contest because I hope that they both lose.
Well, you could have a no contest. You could.
The way I look at it is, if Thorne types into that psychopath that he so desperately calls himself now, and then he just does the same thing that Kato did, then boom, that's done deal. Mac 10's going to be put out again.
Now, Mr. Juggalo, you're watching this match, and these two brothers are beating each other up. And how do you feel from once you're on the outside looking in? You don't have to worry about taking any punishment here right now. And Matt goes for the quick pin there, and unfortunately doesn't work in his favor. But Anthony, I'm sure you're very happy to see the match on the screen because apparently the board of directors have asked me to put this match on the screen. So I just want to put it to make clear for the audience, the board of directors actually asked me to put this match on the screen. So, I just wanted to let you know.
That's fire. You see that he's already leaking? Like, look at him. He's so easy to make him bleed. It is really easy. Dude, I could literally just probably walk into his bedroom and then thump him in the forehead and then it'd bleed.
Well, why would you want to do that, though?
Again, because he's a bitch. I could out wrestle Mac 10 any day of the fucking week.
But Mac is very quiet here, and Angela, who's listening on X, wanted to say it's real. Yes, this match is real blood. It is everything you're seeing here is real. Mac 10 is the deathmatch werewolf who's in Carnage Cup, and this is real. The blood you're seeing, all the stuff here between Kato and Mac 10 to unify these hardcore championships, it is all real. In Resurrection, we don't just use Heinz ketchup sauce. We don't use art packets. We don't do any of that stuff you see in other places. It's all real here. These guys are the definition of kids. Don't try this at home. And you're seeing it, and Naomi's certainly feeling it, and poor Brian White has to watch as an outsider. And the good news for him, at least he can save his body for a couple of weeks at least and get ready for July 27th. But certainly Kato is feeling the punishment, and Naomi's about to be handcuffed. And at least Mac's happy about this part of the match, watching, Naomi get handcuffed.
I do got a question for Mr. Mac 10.
Yes.
Am I going to see you in the Rumble?
You might.
Oh, dude, that means I get to kick your ass in what? Almost a week's time?
Well, 8 days, just about 8 days.
Yeah, I'll say about 8 days. Yeah,
about 8 days.
That sounds pretty nice.
But don't you think, Anthony, there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to be targeting you, like the West Memphis Kid, Ronnie Brady? Maybe Brian White might show up. Who knows? It could be a whole list of people. There's certain people in Tennessee backyard wrestling.
One of those two names that you just named will actually bring me a fight. And we're not talking about the West Memphis bitch.
Well, I'll tell you what. They will bring more. They will bring a lot of fights. Some of them will bring fights, but there's going to be a lot of people that might want to put a target on you, Anthony. I mean, you're obviously the most controversial figure in history.
I mean, when you got the biggest guy in the match, of course they're going to target the biggest guy.
And
So-
Naomi's certainly feeling some of the pain. And I think Mr. Juggalo is going through some technical difficulties because we're having a hard time hearing him and he's trying to connect back. But hopefully he connects back with us. But Mac doesn't seem like he's phased at all, though. He doesn't seem phased.
Not yet. Not yet.
You know, he's very quiet right now, Anthony. I would not want to be you later because he could just sneak up on you and put a light bulb to your head or a light tube or barbed wire or, you know, be the boogeyman like Omen Black, but worse because you live with Mac 10. I mean, I wouldn't want to be right now. Make sure you sleep with the lights on tonight. Yeah. You having a Subway at least? That's good.
He is on, aren't you?
And that was funny how Mac just borrows the. I did like that part, Mac. I just want to say.
Well, that was actually a throwback to a match me and Kato had at the Hightown.
Well, there goes my.
I did like that. I did like it.
Oh, there my phone.
Potato is obviously trying his best
Hey,
to
yeah,
fight back.
I've already put Mac 10 on hush mode for the past like 5 minutes. So I mean, it's
No,
all
you
right.
haven't. Mac is biding his time. He's biding his time. We have the Deathmatch Juggalo Brian White here, who's back with us. How you doing, Mr. White? Are you okay? I know you're going through technical difficulties.
Gotta love South Carolina, man. Gotta love South Carolina. They're so behind in everything.
That's okay. We're all behind in some way or another. But obviously, we're watching the rest of the match. We'll then get to some, few final things from you, Mr. Juggalo, and we'll obviously let the everybody else enjoy the rest of their evening. Although if I'm Anthony Steele right now, I would say I don't know what I'll be enjoying because Mac is really mad right now. He's really mad. Mac is very mad right now.
Hey, Mac 10 can get mad. He can get big mad. He can get little mad. That's all.
Now, Anthony, I should bring it up. Are you worried about Mr. Silverwolf and some things he's upset about? Because obviously Mr. Silverwolf is
Actually, I plan on being on the Wolfpack Hour tomorrow night.
Oh, you do?
I plan on it. And,
Now, what time is that for the audience?
8 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's 9 p.m. Eastern.
Well, I'm going to have Chase Wakefield on at some point during the evening, so I wonder what more people will tune into. Hopefully, they'll turn into your show and they'll.
Now, Brian, just an FYI, this is where it happened. That photo that I sent to the group chat the other day.
This is the one.
Yeah.
I know, that's the crazy part.
Right there.
Like, if you look, they're slightly round on both sides.
And this is where it all kind of unfolds here. And unfortunately,
He poked me in the eye with the light tube, man. Like,
Steven Silvestri did his job and counted to three.
Damn! Oh, did
Anthony
y'all see the
feels
same
very
thing
happy.
I just saw? Did y'all see the same thing I just saw? That's Mac 10 losing.
That's unfortunate. Yes.
That's Mac 10 losing.
And there you have it. And Cato's got 2 hardcore championships now, and he's a very happy man. And Anthony Steele left, which is maybe good for his safety. I wouldn't want to be him. But Mr. White, obviously, I know you're struggling with some technical difficulties, so I want to get to a couple of other things.
No, I got it fixed now.
Oh, good.
I got it
Okay,
fixed
so let's
now.
go to him here anyway for the remaining parts of the show. Obviously, you've done a lot. What does the upcoming Carnage Cup mean to you to be a part of it this year?
Everything, as always. I fought my way to get into 13, which was my first one, and now coming in another year, you got a little bit more experience, and you got a little bit more knowledge of your opponents and stuff. Carnage Cup is still so unpredictable. Anything can happen. I mean, and there's a line that has to be crossed every year, and we're going to cross it, I'm sure, because we always do. But it's an absolute honor still. Either way, anytime you're asked to be in the Carnage Cup, that's an absolute honor, And you have to put a lot of like you said earlier, literally blood, sweat, and tears into it. You have to, So I'm honored and proud to be a part of it.
Is there anybody both of you guys would like to face most?
I think Jay Blade, in my opinion, because Jay Blade is a very underrated worker. Very, very, very underrated. The dude can go. He can absolutely just go ham. Love him to death. I think we would put on a good match because he can bring the high flying aspect and incorporate it into the death match, which, as you've seen in that 2 out of 3 Falls match that him and Lil Sicko had at Kings of Carnage. I mean, that was pretty fucking sick. That was a badass match, and I mean, he proved that he could go. So I would like to do a match against him.
It's a good choice. It's a good choice. And I'd like to say hello to Ronnie Odin out there. How you doing, Ronnie? Ronnie is watching us on Twitch right now because we're on Twitch. So I appreciate that. Also, I want to get to Angela. Yes, it's real blood once again. Let me ask you then this question, Mr. White. What does it mean to you to be a juggalo?
It means I have a family and a following that that can't be taken from me, which is something in a personal matter. Like, you know, I've had everything ripped away from me in my life, but you'll always have the juggalos and juggalettes. You know, we'll family forever. You know, and I guess it's the fact that I know I'll never be alone. But I have my wife for that too. Don't get me wrong, my wife. I have.
You better say your wife is obviously, definitely, you're not alone without, because your wife is the most important person, which I know you know anyway. And
Right.
obviously, we thank your wife for tuning in as well and actually letting us borrow you for these past couple of hours. And I want to say hello to one of the buddies out there of us here. And speaking of our family, Mr. Andrew Lovelace. Of course, Andrew's going to be out there at Summer Bash. He'll be there from July 5th to July 7th, or one of the days. And he is the be-all, end-all, and he is the resident DJ of Sportswire Radio. He's coming back here in a couple of weeks, and he says, hello, gentlemen. How you doing? And I say, hope you're doing well, my friend. I think you're going to be out somewhere this weekend wrestling or being at a show, I would imagine. I know next weekend you're at Amplified's free show, June 29th, West Virginia. So I hope to see you there, and hope to see everyone else to follow Andrew Lovelace. And that's the show here one more time, July 27th, A Night for Dora. Information to follow with ticket cost and all that different stuff. And we'll definitely bring you back on here before that to let you know, obviously promote. And again, it's for a cause that's so important. And unfortunately, cancer has just impacted so many people. And obviously, we're praying for you, Brian, and your mom. And I know it's a tough time this week, but to have you here with us live, I think really shows to the character of who you are and just to your fans and everybody else that's out here. And this is what it's all about, connecting with people and collaboration. And we want to certainly give our support, A Night for Dora. And if you want more information on that, you can follow Brian White, the Deathmatch Juggalo, on a number of different platforms here, YouTube, Facebook, also merchandise link. You can certainly go out there and support all of that stuff here, and make sure you support everything related to A Night for Dora. Details to follow in the coming weeks, and we'll have coverage for it on Sportswire Radio before that. Let me ask you this question, Brian, before I get to closing thoughts from both you gentlemen. I know, obviously, Zilla asked you about a favorite match of yours, but I'd like to ask you, is there one or two moments that stand out most in your career so far?
My match against my student, well, my former trainee, Ace Harris. I had a match against him, and it was very special to me.
Last year, correct?
Yes, he wanted that match, and it was very special to me. And you know, I just remember that match because so much. It just took me back to the times when I was training him. He was just a little chubby, scared. He didn't know. He was just out of shape. So unprofessional. I mean, just a little pissant. And he went from that to a great referee to now one of the top names in the Carolinas as far as a worker. So I was extremely proud of that. Number two would be in no particular order. Let me say that because John Ray.
Yeah, you give me any order you want. I just wanted to ask because I always ask these questions to people that come on, especially guys like yourself.
To work John in the solid death match at Carnage Cup 13, that was another one because that right there, the lineage behind that match itself, and to be a part of that. I mean, I was a part of history. I was in John Rare's last match and the last Saul match ever. So I found it to be a great honor on that. And
besides the impromptu match where he beat your ass.
I don't know what happened there.
I won't bring it up, I suppose.
But and I think my third I haven't had yet.
Let me ask you guys both this question, and Joseph Tibbs had kind of alluded to it, but what does Kevin Brannon mean to both of you guys?
That's boss man. That's my brother. Yeah, that's boss man. I mean, I love him to death.
He's the
He gave
owner, for
me
those who don't know, of IWA Deep South. He's the owner of the company.
Kevin took a chance on me when no other promotions or promoters were touching me, wouldn't have a damn thing to do with me or anything. And Kevin took a chance. And I was forever grateful for that because he's given me so many opportunities to be in a locker room with so many great people and so many legends and names that I seen on TV and stuff. I
I
can
was
only dream
hoping
of doing.
tonight, I got to tell you both this. We were actually supposed to have Judge Joe Dredd on. And I was really hoping to get him on so I could re-invite you guys into the chat. But unfortunately, he didn't realize he was going to a New York Yankees game and he screwed up the time. So unfortunately, I don't think I have a spot for him in the next couple of days. So I don't know when that'll be rescheduled. I was really kind of hoping, because I was going to ask you guys, before he comes on, well, what were some of your dream opponents? And I was going to then have him come on and you guys kind of bum rush him and then be like, oh boy, wow. And that was kind of my plan. But unfortunately, Mr. Judge Joe Dredd unfortunately couldn't show up to the jury and we couldn't execute that actually. And oh well, but we'll figure it out one time. But I thought it was important to mention him because just, so many of you I know have been impacted by just what he's done. Just like John Rare has been so important. I think Kevin Brannon means so much to you guys as well.
Well, Judge Joe Dredd, if he's anything like his buddy Sergeant Jimmy, don't cross me is all I got to say.
Well, I know. See, I am actually going to say this. Judge Joe Dredd, I think, is a lot more, a lot more imposing than Jimmy Controversy. I could certainly say I think Judge Joe Dredd. You think Judge Joe Dredd is less imposing than Jimmy Controversy?
I don't know the man. Let's just say that. But
I don't know.
Deep South. If you want to come on down there, I mean, come on. We'll do business. We'll see.
Well, that's I actually talked to him about it off the air, but I think he wanted to address it here on the air. But unfortunately, this is he's actually visiting New York for 4 days.
I would honestly say, Tom.
Yes, I want to hear.
Judge is just as bad as Jimmy because what is IWA for? We don't make the rules; we break them.
I was just going off the size advantage that Judge Joe Dredd had. He's a little bigger than Jimmy, but all right. Well, I guess we'll never know because he's not here tonight. That was my plan to obviously, really do the open collaborating and just invite you because Mr. Judge Joe Dredd did tell me, well, you can do anything you want. He's like, oh, I don't care. I'm up for anything. Well, I was like, well, I got a little plan, but it didn't come to fruition. But let me ask you one more question, Mr. White, before I move on to closing thoughts for both you gentlemen. What do you want to say to any of your fans out there? What do you want to say to anybody watching this? Just to, just for them to either continue to support you or come and join you on this journey, which you've basically stated is kind of nearing the end, and the best is still yet to come, though.
I just want to say to everybody, thank you. You made me who I am, and I thank you so much for the unwavering love and support over the years. Like, when I didn't have nothing, before I met my wife, I was homeless and all that stuff. Like, I didn't have nothing, but I always had professional wrestling. I always had wrestling, and that's what kept me alive over the years. But my fans, really, you don't know how much you make me want to get up out of the bed and continue to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that picture right there, that's my brothers at South Carolina Wrestling Entertainment. Man, that was the best years of my life. And if you're in the backyard, you're having the best time of your life. But remember what I said earlier, when you get to the business, when you get to this side of it, you're going to have to bust your ass,
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna make a deal with both of you guys because I owe Max something. And I get the feeling that this will mean something to you, Brian White. We talked a lot about family, talked about your own trials and tribulations. I know you're going through a difficult time with your mom. Obviously, my prayers to you and your family, and I certainly am only hoping for the best. But I'll tell you what, we're going to make this official. So before July 27th, I'm going to want you here that week. Before that show, I want you here. I'm going to endorse the show. We'll talk about when you can announce the card, but I want to do 2 for the price of 1. Because I owe Mac. Mac, I really do owe. He's the landlord of Sportswire Radio, and he's probably going to go, well, we haven't asked me yet, and it's about time, but I think it'll be a good time that week. Maybe I'll even do 3 for 1. You know what? I'm going to do 3 for the price of 1 because now I'm really going to go off the deep end. Not only am I going to put you, Mac 10, into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, not only am I going to put Cato into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, that show. Congratulations to Deathmatch Juggalo Brian White. Before that week on July 27th, I want all 3 of you guys to be here at the same time so I can put all three of you guys into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, because I don't think the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame isn't really hardcore without three of the premier hardcore and deathmatch wrestlers in this circuit right now. So if you'll accept that, hopefully I can get you guys on a show before the 27th. How does that sound?
That sounds great, because that'll be my second Hall of Fame I've been in.
I noticed that. That's why I was like, I didn't want to say this is your first one, because I know you've already been inducted into one Hall of Fame. So I didn't want to. That I knew.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm honored.
Mhm.
Well, I'm happy to hear. Mac's kind of like, well, what have you been waiting for? I mean, that's why Mac is kind of like, I don't want to get on Mac's bad side right now, because I think if I'm Anthony right now, I seriously would be sleeping with one eye open right now, or at least with the lights on. But we'll definitely make that happen. I want to obviously officially support your show. And one more time, if you haven't yet, please support Mr. White on all these links. He's a great guy. This is one of the guys that's really from our community. He's come up through our community. He's represented our community, and he's doing great things on behalf of our community. And that's why we want to support him in all of his endeavors. IWA Deep South, everything he's going to do in Carnage Cup alongside Mac 10, Cato, all the great guys, Jimmy Controversy, even though we give him grief, and Obey, the birthday boy, so many others. We certainly want to make sure we support these great guys. They're about all wrestling matters here, and they definitely do it for the love of this sport, and that's why we're so happy to have them here. We're going to make that happen. So we'll do 3 for the price of 1, and that'll certainly make the internet explode. But we'll certainly move on with that. So I want to give you guys both some closing thoughts, and obviously it's been a lot of fun. Mac, I'm sure I'll probably see you at some point this weekend. I think maybe, I don't know. Well, Anthony's busy. You're going to be on Silverwolf show tomorrow, right?
I should be.
I figured that much. But until then, I'll probably be watching that at some point. But I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything you'd like to share or say before I pass the baton to your compadre, Mr. White?
Now, I'm just going to drop this right here, because you've been talking a lot about Masada here lately.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one come Carnage Cup, because he's one of the competitors in Carnage Cup this year. So if I get the chance to be in the ring with him during Carnage Cup, I might not live.
What do you want on your tombstone?
Exactly.
Well, you know what? I mean, hardcore wrestled Man Panda. What was it, about 8 months ago? And he sort of lived, and maybe you'll have the same experience, but better. Who knows? And, you know, hopefully I'll have Masada. Actually, I don't want to say I'm definitely having him on now, especially after Judge Joe Dredd was like, yeah, I'm going to be here. And then he obviously forgot the time of his Yankees game. But yeah, we're expecting Masada to be here very, very soon. And I'm sure maybe you might want to introduce yourself if that would be so kind on your behalf. No, you don't want to. Would you want to introduce yourself, Masada?
Who knows?
Okay, well, I'll leave that at that, and I'm sure you'll hear real soon about Masada. But speaking about hardcore guys, we actually have one guy from ESW Shockwave who's here Sunday night, and he's actually going to say some things that some people on this platform might actually like about what we think about ESW Shockwave. But Osiris is here live. Osiris, who's here, is kind of their one hardcore wrestler. He's going to shed some light about some of the dealings in ESW Shockwave. It might be a
now before we finish that, Tom, there's just one thing I gotta say to a little guy that we had on the other day, and all his compadres were in the chat talking shit on everybody. Mm-hmm. Y'all say that y'all's company is a family. Hell no. Yet come step foot around IWA. That's a family.
Hell yes. And Resurrection, by the way. I do want to put Resurrection out there. But by the way, when he did say that, I did say Resurrection Wrestling. I mentioned a lot of the companies. So certainly the cult-like atmosphere. I'm not going to bore you with that information, Mr. White. There was unfortunately or fortunately, we had a show and Anthony, and we had a guy who calls himself Judgment, and it was what it was. It was what it was. Some people think that there'll actually be something to come out of it. Others do not. Omen and Soldier's side of the story was they think nothing comes out of it. Guys that messaged me said they think that something will come out of it. I have no idea, but I agree with you, though. IWA Deep South is the true definition of family, alongside Resurrection Wrestling, though. Alongside Resurrection. I want to make sure Resurrection gets mentioned there. But I'll certainly leave that for a different time. But the Deathmatch Juggalo, I want to give you the floor. I want to let you say anything else you want to share, any closing thoughts, anything else on your mind. And it's an absolute honor. And I'm looking forward to having you here before July 27th and put you in the Hall of Fame and adding 2 Hall of Fames to your resume alongside that 2nd annual Spider Boudreaux Memorial Deathmatch Gauntlet winner. And it's been a lot of fun, and can't wait to do it again with you next month.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for bringing me on and having me here. I mean, it's been awesome. I've had a great time. Um, my thoughts, I just want to address this. It's okay to not agree on everything and see eye to eye about or agree with what somebody thinks or whatever feels, but that's okay. You can still be friends and not agree on everything. And to the wrestling community in general and deathmatch wrestling too, but in the wrestling community out there, I'm talking about the fans, the marks, all of us, hell, all of us. Stop all this damn hatred, man. Just stop it. You hate on something that you don't understand or whatever. Just come straight to the horse and find out for yourself, or at least do better research on what you're doing. But stop making it so goddamn personal. This is just a business, folks.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that Wednesday's show, in a way, I think that the people that Mac is referring to, they took personal things that we had said a week and a half ago about their company, and they could not differentiate what specifically I said and a few others, namely Omen Black and Soldier GP, which I won't bore you with the information, but that company in question, their wrestlers took it as a personal swipe, but it wasn't a personal swipe. It was more of a philosophical thing that on this platform we've tried to collaborate, bring people together, build that family atmosphere. And that company in question, the wrestlers that come on here, many of them come on here, but their company alongside those individuals who are, saying certain things into the chat don't really seem to collaborate or cooperate with that message of bringing people together, unity, family-like atmosphere. And I think that's where they couldn't differentiate the personal attack. It was more of a philosophical difference. And I think that that's where you're absolutely right. Sometimes people don't seem to kind of differentiate that. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have a different opinion. Not everybody's going to love 100% what people do. And I think that's unfortunate.
Newsflash, just anybody, if you know, it's a work.
Well, I'm not a wrestler. I'm just going to go along. My running joke is whatever you guys say, I'm going along with it. But I want to remind people one more time on this date, June 21st, 2024, it is Brian White Day on all Sportswire radio platforms. And I will give you this physical certificate when we're off the air, and we'll definitely put a date that week of the 27th. I want to get all 3 of you guys into the Hall of Fame and kind of make it a little special, fun night. And we'll talk about the show, and I'll give my support to when you give some more details a little bit more closer on social media. I certainly want to give my support and efforts in that, and I'm praying for you and your family. And I give you so much respect for being here during a difficult time with you and your family. And I just can't thank you enough for all that you've done for this sport. And I definitely look forward to seeing you here soon. And congratulations on all the recent success. Congratulations on the big victory over Jimmy Controversy. Congratulations on the Carnage Cup 13 round 1 victory last year. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in round 14. And Mac, I'm sure I'll see you probably Sunday or tomorrow. Who knows? Well, tomorrow, no, because you're probably on the Silver Wolf show, but probably the next day. But obviously, until then, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for all that you guys done and for this sport, and congratulations on everything. And I look forward to seeing you soon. One more time, Mr. White, I'm praying for you and your wonderful family.
Thank you very much. God bless y'all. Thank you.
Amen to that. That was, ladies and gentlemen, the Deathmatch Juggalo, Brian White. He's also the 2nd annual Spider Boudreaux Memorial Deathmatch Gauntlet winner. You'll see him a part of IWA Deep South and also in Carnage Cup 14. And alongside him, we heard from Kato and Naomi for a little while. We heard from Anthony Steele and also the landlord of Sportswire Radio, Mr. Mac 10. And I think Mr. White left. That's okay. He was going through technical difficulties. My name is the Reverend Tom
Come
Price.
back, Brian.
Your voice, figuratively and literally, of all wrestling matters. And I'll be here tomorrow twice. I'll be here 4 o'clock. Speaking of hardcore wrestlers from my state, New York, we'll hear from King Shock, who is in round 2 of the NEW Underground's Riot in the Ring. He'll be here to talk about that, plus his journey. Then around 10 o'clock Eastern time, I'll be here with Chase Wakefield, who's going to talk about some of the truths in that company in question, because he left that company, and he's going to talk about some things that he kind of saw, and some of them are good, some of them bad, but we'll have to find out all of it. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio, that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.